Between 9th and the beginning of the 10th century, famous foreign writers decided to begin long journeys along the Garganic mountains, known for the sanctuary of the Archangel St. Michael and its panoramic and historical relevance. These journeys were necessary for cultural and artistic growth of young aristocrats. This influx of travellers favoured the idea of the discovery of the South, also involving the Victorian bourgeoisie, in itineraries similar to those of the Grand Tour. English writers recount forgotten historical events, describe traditions, customs, monuments, tracing a mythical image of Puglia, and within it of the Capitanata and the Gargano. Henry Swinburne was born in Bristol in 1743 to a family with ancient origins and of strong Catholic faith. He began his literary career studying in Paris, Bordeaux, and at the Royal Academy of Turin. His journey starts from Naples, the city from which the author begins his expedition to the Gargano, where probably no English man had ever been before. Starting from Bovino and Troia, the author sets off towards the plateau reaching Foggia, and he makes an accurate architectural description. Swinburne finds it difficult to stay there as the inns were occupied by people who had come there for the upcoming fair. Later, the author moves to Manfredonia and sees the city of Siponto, of which he traces a brief history. Here, the author declares the great quantity of errors in the cartography of the time. In Monte Sant'Angelo, Swinburne visits the sanctuary and he ends his stay near Castelfiorentino in the Capitanata. Swinburne's written work is a direct experience of English travellers in the south of Italy, and it paints a picture of historic events, geographically observations, anecdotes, myths, traditions and curiosities. Above all, it covers the socio-economic aspect of the region, sketching a clear and disenchanted portrait. What makes this author so different from all the other travellers was his enlightened Catholicism, which makes him similar to a meticulous and objective journalist, practical and free from preconceptions. Richard Keppel Craven was born in 1779. In the custody of his mother, he went to live in Europe and then Naples. Craven saw the Capitanata well twice. He also set off from Bovino, the so-called shelter of outlaws. After Troia, the author visits Lucera, known for its being situated on a raised location and for its castle. The next stop is Foggia, the cathedral, the structure of the city, which appears clear, prosperous and rich, takes the author aback. However, the heat brings Craven to the city of Manfredonia, which charms him for its defensive city walls, the secure port and for the pleasant appearance of his inhabitants. The next day, the author goes to Monte Sant'Angelo, making a visit to the sanctuary. The high number of faithful, the songs, and the religious hymns contribute to create a suggestive atmosphere that almost transcends reality. After being captivated by the cave, Craven proceeds to the regions south of the Gargano. In each chapter, Craven leaves the voice of distant ages echoing. He inserts testimonies of the most illustrious Greek and Roman authors, always trying to outline the historical picture. Alongside the historical references, Craven provides an accurate physical and topographic description of each stage. Janet Ann Ross was born in London in 1842, and after the financial crisis of 1866, she relocated to Italy with her family. in the land of Manfred, the author describes her route around the Capitanata with the company of Carlo Orso, a book illustrator, and Sir James Lacaita, senator and academic. It's interesting to highlight that Ross was the only woman who take part in such a journey at that time. In Foggia, Janet Ross noted that the city was lacking in any trace of the medieval period, except for the court built by the emperor in 1223, where the well of the emperor was built. 5 miles from Foggia, there were some remains of an ancient walls that marked the site of Arpi, a city founded by Diomede, and Lucera, known for the majestic castle belonging to Frederick II. The next day from Foggia, the author takes part in the celebration of the Virgin Mary of Incoronata, and then to Manfredonia, the reason of which to visit to the nearby Monte Sant'Angelo. Arriving near the church, the author evaluates it differently from any other in the world. The land of Manfredi has been defined as one of the most important pieces of writing regarding Puglia in the 9th century, particularly for its narrative spontaneously and abundance of information. Not only does she cover the historical aspects, but also the anthropological, along this journey through the crucial crossroads of the Swabian kingdom in Italy. Although many have accused the author of being imprecise, this work remains an unquestionable classic of foreign literature on Puglia. Arthur Miller was born in New York in 1915, and in 1951 he writes in the distinguished Harper's magazines the story of Monte Sant'Angelo, known by many as the best story of all. More than just the scared aspects of the cave or the Archangel, Miller made note of the wideness of the nearby areas. He relates the Gargano and the plateau as form of reincarnation of locations already seen and lived. But Vinnie Appello, his Italian friend, provides him with the desire that drives his journey, which is to belong to a story. Going down into the crypt of the sanctuary, their search for ancestors is unsuccessful. They find shelter in a restaurant where a good man presents himself, with features unlike those of the usual Puglian and with the typical behavior of a Jew. Bernstein, he believes, is happy. He finally feels at ease. He returns to the crypt, and while his friend continues to search for the grave of his medieval ancestors, he does not move. He searches inside himself the reason for what happened. Finally, Appello finds the tomb they so sought after. He too is happy to have rediscovered the lost identity of these ancestors. When they leave the crypt, they find that the town is desert. The air smells of wood and olive oil. Some pale stars have appeared in the sky. Puglia has always been a crossroads of scholars, tourists, and culture lovers. It remains everlasting in ink, skillfully versed by those who have enjoyed so much beauty before us.